Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's podcast, English Listening Practice podcast topic name is, What Does It Mean to Live a Meaningful Life? Today, we're diving headfirst into, one of humanity's oldest, most universal questions, really. What does it actually mean to live a meaningful life?
It's a huge question, isn't it? One that echoes across cultures, time.
Absolutely. And it feels particularly relevant right now, wouldn't you say, with everything going on, technology, uncertainty, shifting values.
Definitely. The pace of change is so rapid, it makes that search for meaning feel less like a philosophical luxury and more like, a necessity, almost like finding your anchor in a storm.
A compass, yeah. It's a good way to put it. So for this deep dive, we've looked at this from lots of angles: philosophy, psychology, spiritual traditions, sociology, even personal stories.
Right, trying to get a really rounded view.
And what strikes me is there's no single answer, is there? A meaningful life isn't some formula you can just plug in.
Not at all. For one person, it might be all about family and relationships. For someone else, maybe it's pouring themselves into creative work or art.
Or contributing to a cause, something bigger than themselves. But even with all that diversity, certain themes keep popping up, don't they?
Yeah, these common threads seem universal. Things like connection, having a sense of purpose, being authentic to who you are.
Growth, resilience too. We're going to explore these themes looking back through history, but also at modern science and different cultural takes. The idea is to give you, our listeners, some really solid ground for thinking about your own path to meaning.
Exactly. It's about understanding the why now, like you said. We're drowning in information, right? So there's this deep human need to cut through the noise and find what actually matters.
Distilling those core truths.
Precisely. And while everyone's journey is unique, absolutely unique, understanding these recurring themes gives you a kind of framework, tools for reflection.
So it's not passive, just hoping meaning finds you.
No, it's about actively cultivating it, giving you the power to define and create your own sense of purpose. Right now.
Empowerment. I like that. It fits, considering how long humanity has been wrestling with this. So where does this quest even begin, historically speaking?
Well, if we're talking Western thought, you almost have to start with Aristotle. His idea of eudaimonia is just foundational.
Eudaimonia, that's usually translated as flourishing or the good life.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's about living well, but not just in a hedonistic sense. It's rooted in living virtuously, fulfilling your potential as a human being.
So how did he think we achieve that?
Through practicing virtues, things like courage, justice, wisdom, and engaging in activities that align with our unique human capacities. He wasn't focused on just, feeling good moment to moment.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think of a musician. Their eudaimonia wouldn't just be playing catchy tunes. It'd be in the striving, the mastery of their instrument, pushing their own artistic boundaries.
Or a citizen contributing to their community.
Exactly. Playing your part, thoughtfully, actively. And he talked about the golden mean in his Nicomachean Ethics. It's about finding the balance between extremes.
Ah, right. Not being reckless, but courageous. Not stingy, but generous.
Precisely. It's about finding that virtuous middle ground, kind of inner balance.
That idea of inner balance really connects to another school of thought, the Stoics. They seem very focused on resilience. People often think Stoic means emotionless, though.
Right, and that's a common misunderstanding. People like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they weren't saying don't feel. They were saying focus on mastering your inner world, your thoughts, your reactions.
Because the external stuff
is often completely out of our control. Epictetus nailed it. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. It's about finding freedom in your response.
And that has echoes today, doesn't it, in things like therapy?
Absolutely. Think about cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. It's basically applied stoicism in many ways, identifying unhelpful thoughts, challenging them, reframing them.
Managing your inner kingdom, as Aurelius might say.
Yeah. Or mindfulness practices, focusing on the present, accepting it without judgment. That's very stoic. It's about realizing your power lies in your perception, your choices, not the external chaos.
So that's a very individual-focused path. What about traditions that emphasize connection to something larger? Eastern philosophies seem key here.
Definitely. In Hinduism, you have the concept of dharma. It's not just duty, it's like the cosmic order and finding your place within it.
Aligning your actions with your role in family, society.
Exactly. And the Bhagavad Gita, a really central text, talks about fulfilling your responsibilities, but crucially, cultivating detachment from the results.
acting, but without being attached to the outcome. That
Right.
sounds difficult.
It is, but powerful. It allows for action with inner peace. And then you have Buddhism, which approaches meaning through overcoming suffering.
Through the Eightfold Path.
Right, which covers everything from right understanding and intention to right mindfulness. It's a very practical guide to living ethically and wisely.
And Buddhism really highlights interdependence, doesn't it? Meaning isn't found in isolation.
Not at all. It's found in connection with others, with the world. The idea that we're all part of this intricate web, our well-being is tied together. It's a beautiful concept.
Okay, so fast forward a bit. How did the quest for meaning evolve as we move into, say, the Middle Ages?
Well, during that period, religious frameworks really took center stage, especially in Europe. For Christian thinkers like St. Augustine or Thomas Aquinas, ultimate fulfillment came from aligning your life with God's will.
Augustine's Confessions comes to mind, his whole journey.
Exactly. That sense of restlessness until finding peace in faith, his famous line, "Our hearts are restless until they rest in you," sums it up perfectly. Meaning was seen as a divine gift, accessed through devotion, prayer, moral living.
And we see similar themes in other major faiths around that time.
Absolutely. In Islam, scholars like Al-Ghazali spoke of taqwa, or God consciousness, as the pathway. His work emphasized balancing worldly duties, family, work with spiritual practices like prayer and charity.
A kind of integrated life.
Yes. And in Jewish traditions, meaning was deeply rooted in living according to divine commandments, the mitzvot, fostering community and pursuing justice, all guided by the Torah and Talmud.
So these frameworks offered a strong sense of cosmic purpose.
Immensely strong. They anchored people in a grand divine narrative, but often the emphasis was on fulfilling prescribed roles, adhering to divine law or community expectations, which perhaps inevitably set the stage for later questions about, well, individual freedom and autonomy.
Right, and that brings us to the Enlightenment, which feels like a major pivot point. A shift towards reason, individual agency.
A huge shift. You have figures like Immanuel Kant arguing that meaning doesn't come from God or tradition, but from our own reason, guiding us to act according to universal moral principles.
His categorical imperative.
Exactly. Act only according to that maxim whereby you can at the same time will for that it should become a universal law. Basically, make ethical choices that respect human dignity, choices you could rationally want everyone to make. Meaning arises from living by those self-determined universal principles.
So meaning becomes tied to rational, ethical action. But then, moving into the 19th and 20th centuries, we get the existentialists. They seem to be grappling with a world where maybe those universal principles or divine plans feel absent.
Yes, it's a much starker view. Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre confronted the idea that maybe there is no inherent meaning given to us. His famous phrase, "Existence precedes essence."
Meaning we exist first, then we define ourselves.
Precisely. We're born into the world without a free-made purpose. We have to create our own meaning through our choices, our actions. We are, as he put it, condemned to be free.
That sounds both liberating and terrifying.
It is, and Albert Camus took that further with his concept of the absurd.
The clash between our desire for meaning and a seemingly indifferent universe.
Exactly, that gap. Camus explored how we respond. He rejected suicide. He was skeptical of leaps of faith into religion. His answer: embrace the absurd, rebel against it.
How? How do you rebel against an indifferent universe?
Through living passionately, through creativity, through human connection, through solidarity. Finding meaning in the struggle, like Sisyphus, finding a defiant meaning in pushing his rock, even knowing it will roll back down. You create meaning by embracing life fully, despite the lack of cosmic guarantees.
Wow. Okay, so amidst all this heavy philosophy, Viktor Frankl enters the scene, offering a psychological perspective forged in the most extreme circumstances imaginable.
Frankl's logotherapy is incredibly powerful, especially because he developed it partly based on his experiences as a Holocaust survivor. His book, Man's Search for Meaning, is just essential reading.
What was his core argument?
He argued we can find meaning through three main avenues. First, through creating work or doing deeds, having a project, a contribution. Second, through experiencing something or encountering someone, love, beauty, nature, connection.
And the third?
This is perhaps the most profound, given his background. To the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering, even when everything else is stripped away, you still have the freedom to choose your response.
Finding meaning even in the face of suffering itself.
Yes. His experiences show that even in the depths of a concentration camp, people who held on to a sense of purpose, a reason to survive, maybe for a loved one, or unfinished work, had a better chance. It demonstrated the sheer power of meaning for human resilience.
Bringing us closer to today, how are contemporary thinkers approaching this? Positive psychology seems to integrate some of these ideas.
It does. Positive psychology tries to study well-being empirically, and meaning is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
But there's also this ongoing discussion touched on by philosophers like Charles Taylor.
Taylor talks about a malaise of meaning in modern secular life.
Right. His point is that without those shared, often religious frameworks of the past, people can feel a bit lost, searching for meaning in a world that offers maybe too many options, or none that feel truly transcendent.
So what's his suggestion?
He argues for finding a balance. We need individual authenticity, yes, living true to ourselves. But we also need connection to what he calls larger horizons. That could be community, nature, a shared cause, something beyond just the self. It's about bridging the inner and outer worlds.
That's a really nice bridge to the psychology of meaning, because modern psychology has actually started measuring this stuff.
It really has. Martin Seligman's work in positive psychology is key here. He developed the PERMA model of well-being.
PERMA, that's positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment.
Exactly. And meaning in this model is defined pretty clearly. It's about having that sense of purpose, belonging to and serving something bigger than yourself.
And the research backing this up is pretty compelling, isn't it? Like higher meaning correlating with better health outcomes.
It's striking. Studies consistently link a strong sense of meaning to things like lower mortality risk, reduced stress, greater life satisfaction. It's not just a nice to have. It seems fundamental to our well-being, even our physical health.
It makes you realize the difference between meaning and just, say, happiness. They aren't the same thing.
Not at all. Happiness can be fleeting, tied to positive experiences. Meaning often involves things that are difficult, even stressful, but feel deeply worthwhile.
Like raising children, often cited as stressful but incredibly meaningful.
The classic example. And recent research even suggests that people who consciously prioritize meaning over just chasing happiness tend to experience greater long-term fulfillment, especially when facing challenges. Meaning provides a kind of resilience that fleeting pleasure doesn't.
Interesting. So besides PERMA, what other psychological models help explain this?
Self-determination theory, or SDT, developed by Deci and Ryan, is another really important one. It suggests that we have these three basic psychological needs.
Okay, what are they?
Autonomy, the need to feel in control of our own lives and choices. Competence, the need to feel effective, capable, mastering skills. And relatedness, the need to feel connected to others, to belong.
Autonomy, competence, relatedness, and the idea is fulfilling these needs leads to meaning.
Essentially, yes. When these needs are met, people feel intrinsically motivated, engaged, and experience a deeper sense of purpose and well-being.
Can you give an example?
Think about that nurse again. If she feels she has autonomy in how she cares for patients, feels competent in her skills, and feels a real sense of relatedness with her colleagues and the people she helps, her work is likely to feel deeply meaningful. Studies show this holds true across different cultures and contexts. Meeting these needs boosts meaning significantly.
So purpose is obviously a huge piece of this meaning puzzle. How is purpose typically defined in psychology?
It's often seen as having clear long-term goals that are personally significant and also usually make some kind of contribution beyond the self. Like the Greater Good Science Center definition you mentioned, clear direction, often tied to helping others or society.
And there's a strong link between purpose and actually doing things for others, pro-social behavior.
A very strong link. People with a stronger sense of purpose are much more likely to volunteer, mentor, donate actions that benefit others. And performing these actions actually reinforces their sense of purpose. It's a positive feedback loop.
Meaning feeds action, action feeds meaning.
Exactly. And purpose isn't just found in grand gestures. It can be in your career, family, community work, personal growth.
Like the software engineer developing accessible tech or the parent nurturing a child. Small, consistent actions count just as much.
Absolutely. Helping a neighbor, listening attentively to a friend, these build meaning too. It's the intention and the connection that matter.
Let's talk about adversity again. You mentioned Frankl and how meaning acts as a buffer. Psychology seems to back this up strongly.
Very strongly. Research on resilience shows that people who can find meaning in difficult experience, illness, loss, trauma, tend to cope better. They report lower post-traumatic stress, sometimes even increased life satisfaction afterwards.
That sounds like post-traumatic growth.
Precisely. It's the idea that major challenges, while painful, can actually be catalysts for profound positive change, stronger relationships, deeper appreciation for life, a clearer sense of purpose.
Like the cancer survivors you mentioned, finding renewed purpose.
Yes, facing mortality can radically shift priorities. Many survivors report feeling a stronger sense of purpose after their diagnosis, especially if they engage in activities that help them make sense of their experience, like support groups or reflective practices. Meaning becomes a healing force.
And living authentically, being true to your values, that's crucial too.
Foundational. Carl Rogers, the humanistic psychologist, talked about self-actualization reaching your potential. He stressed the need for congruence, where your actions align with your inner self, your core beliefs.
So if you value honesty, acting honestly brings a sense of integrity and meaning.
Right. And studies show that simply taking time to reflect on your personal values regularly leads to a higher reported sense of meaning. It helps you consciously align your life with what matters most to you.
Our identity plays a role too, doesn't it? Cultural background, personal experiences.
Hugely. Embracing your unique identity, whether it's cultural, gender, spiritual, or personal, can be a powerful source of meaning. Think about people from marginalized groups finding purpose and advocating for social justice, turning their personal experience into collective action. It's about finding strength and meaning in who you are.
Now, let's broaden the lens again and look at cultural variations. Meaning isn't defined the same way everywhere, is it?
Not at all. It's heavily shaped by cultural values and social structures. In highly individualistic societies like the US or Australia, meaning often gets tied to personal accomplishments, self-expression, independence.
Career success, achieving personal goals.
Yeah, research often shows those are high priorities. But in more collectivist cultures, think parts of East Asia like Japan or China or India, meaning is more interwoven with family, community, social harmony.
You mentioned the Japanese concept of ikigai earlier.
Right, ikigai, your reason for being. It's that sweet spot where what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for all intersect. It beautifully integrates personal fulfillment with contribution.
And studies there show people prioritize family roles, social contribution more.
Consistently. It reflects that emphasis on the collective good and fulfilling your social responsibilities as a path to meaning.
What about indigenous perspectives? They often seem to offer a very different framework.
They really do. Many indigenous cultures emphasize living in harmony with nature and community. Meaning comes from understanding your place within the larger web of life, maintaining balance.
Like the Navajo concept of Hozo, balance, beauty, harmony.
Exactly, it's about interconnectedness. And similarly, many African philosophies, like Ubuntu in Southern Africa.
I am because we are.
That's the heart of it. Meaning arises from collective existence, from community, from recognizing our deep interdependence. Research shows these values often lead to higher community engagement and a shared sense of purpose.
So culture provides the blueprint, in a way, but societal structures within those cultures also play a huge role, like consumerism.
Oh, definitely. Modern consumer culture often pushes this narrative that meaning comes from acquiring things, from wealth, status, external validation.
Pressure to keep up.
Right. And social media can amplify this massively with the constant comparison to curated, perfect-looking lives. Surveys show many young people feel this makes finding authentic meaning harder.
It leads to that hedonic treadmill you mentioned, chasing the next purchase, without lasting satisfaction.
Exactly, it's a trap. Contrast that with societies that structurally prioritize things like education for all, strong social safety nets, community engagement, mental health support.
Like Denmark, often cited in happiness rankings.
Yes. Reports suggest people in countries with robust social systems tend to report higher levels of purpose. The environment makes it easier to pursue meaning beyond just material gain. It enables things like volunteering, lifelong learning, strong community ties.
And technology itself, beyond social media, how is it changing the game? AI, for instance.
It's a mixed bag, for sure. On the plus side, AI tools can support the search for meaning. Think mental health apps using AI for personalized mindfulness, or career platforms using AI to suggest fulfilling job paths based on your skills and values.
So potentially helpful tools.
Potentially. But the negative side is significant too. We already talked about social media's impact on authenticity and comparison. Plus, the constant connectivity, the notifications, the sheer volume of information. It fragments our attention.
Makes it harder to focus, to reflect, to engage deeply.
Yes, it pulls us away from the focused work, the deep conversations, the quiet reflection that often fosters meaning. Finding that balance with technology is a major challenge for finding meaning today.
Okay, let's try to synthesize some of this. If we were to boil it down, what are the absolute core elements that consistently emerge across these different perspectives when we talk about a meaningful life? Connection seems huge.
Undeniably. Human connection relationships with family, friends, community is fundamental. The Harvard Grant Study, that incredible 85-year project, found strong relationships were the single biggest predictor of long-term happiness and well-being. More than money, more than fame.
People with strong connections reported higher meaning throughout their lives.
Consistently. Because relationships provide support, shared experiences, a sense of belonging, and often a shared purpose, like raising a family together or working towards a common goal with friends or colleagues.
And expressing gratitude within those relationships helps.
Significantly. Simple acts of appreciation strengthen bonds. And extending that connection outwards through community involvement, volunteering, joining groups that also boost purpose, seeing the impact you have on others, feeling part of something larger.
So connection is one pillar. Purpose and contribution seem like another non-negotiable.
Absolutely. Having a sense of purpose, feeling like you're contributing to something beyond yourself, is vital. This looks different for everyone, of course.
Like the examples we discussed, the teacher, the researcher, the parent, the activist.
Right. Or simply being a reliable colleague, a caring friend. It doesn't have to be world-changing. Small, consistent acts of contribution matter. Helping a neighbor, mentoring someone in research shows these daily pro-social acts significantly boost feelings of meaning.
It's about impact, big or small. Okay, third pillar. Authenticity, living in line with your values.
Crucial. Carl Rogers' idea of congruence, your actions matching your inner self. When you live authentically, expressing your true values, beliefs, and identity, life feels more coherent, more meaningful.
Which requires self-awareness, knowing what your values actually are.
Exactly. Practices like journaling, meditation, therapy help cultivate that self-awareness. And studies confirm reflecting on values increases meaning. Creative expression is also a powerful way to be authentic, sharing your unique perspective through art, writing, problem solving.
Letting your true self show up in the world. Fourth pillar, growth and learning.
Yes, the sense of progress, of expanding your horizons. Lifelong learning keeps things dynamic, prevents stagnation, whether it's formal education, travel, picking up a new skill, or even learning from challenges.
Embracing adversity as a learning opportunity ties back to resilience and post-traumatic growth.
Precisely. Seeing challenges not just as obstacles, but as chances to learn and develop resilience, transforms them into sources of meaning. Even small things, like learning a family recipe, connect you to heritage and foster growth.
And that leads perfectly to the fifth pillar, resilience and adaptability.
The ability to bounce back, to navigate life's inevitable difficulties. We know from Frankel and modern research that finding meaning in adversity is key to resilience.
Reframing challenges as growth opportunities.
Yes, and cultivating resilience through practices like mindfulness, gratitude, and leaning on your social support network. These aren't just coping mechanisms. They actively build your capacity to find meaning even when things are tough. Gratitude journaling, for example, consistently shows links to higher life satisfaction and meaning.
Connection, purpose, authenticity, growth, resilience. Those seem like the big five. So, knowing these elements, how can people practically start cultivating more meaning in their lives? Let's get into actionable strategies.
Okay, first off, cultivating self-awareness. This is the foundation. You need to know yourself to live authentically.
So things like mindfulness meditation, just 5-10 minutes a day.
Yes, it helps you connect with your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Journaling is another powerful tool, reflecting on your values, experiences, what brings you joy or feels meaningful.
And therapy or coaching can be really valuable here too.
Absolutely, especially for navigating specific challenges or gaining deeper insights. Studies on things like mindfulness-based cognitive therapy show real increases in life satisfaction.
Okay, second strategy, building strong relationships.
Be intentional about it. Schedule regular time with loved ones, make it a priority. Practice active listening, put the phone away, really focus on the other person.
And express gratitude, tell people you appreciate them.
Little things that make a huge difference. Research shows expressing gratitude boosts relationship satisfaction significantly.
Third, pursuing purposeful work. Since we spend so much time working.
Try to align your work with your values as much as possible. Find ways to see the impact of what you do, even in small ways. Seek opportunities to learn and grow within your role.
Gallup polls show that feeling your work has impact leads to much higher meaning.
Exactly. Even if your current job isn't perfect, look for aspects that connect to your purpose. Or consider volunteering or side projects that do.
Which leads to the fourth point, engaging with community.
Get involved. Volunteer for a cause you believe in. Join local groups, book clubs, sports teams, faith communities. Support local events and initiatives.
It builds connection and reinforces that sense of contributing to something larger. Studies show community engagement boosts life satisfaction.
Fifth, embracing creativity.
Not just for artists, right? Anyone can do this.
Anyone. Explore painting, writing, cooking, gardening, coding, whatever sparks your interest. Apply creative thinking to everyday problems. Maybe share your creations if you feel comfortable. It's about expression and tapping into that authentic part of yourself.
And finally, sixth, navigating challenges constructively.
Since challenges are unavoidable, practice reframing setbacks. What can you learn? Seek support from your network. Don't go it alone. And keep up those resilience practices like mindfulness or gratitude. They help you adapt and find meaning even in difficulty.
These are great practical steps, but let's be real, it's not always easy. What are some of the biggest obstacles people face?
Well, those external pressures we talked about are huge. Consumer culture constantly tells you meaning comes from buying things or achieving status. Social media fuels comparison.
That pressure towards material success can really undermine authentic meaning.
Definitely. And the hedonic treadmill keeps you chasing the next thing. Plus, work-life imbalance, high-pressure jobs demanding everything, leaving no space for relationships or personal growth. Studies link excessive work hours to lower meaning.
So how do you fight back against those pressures?
You have to consciously define success for yourself, focusing on intrinsic goals, learning, connection, contribution, not just external validation. Be mindful of your media intake and set firm boundaries to protect time for what truly matters.
Then there are the internal struggles, mental health issues.
Depression, anxiety, they can make it incredibly hard to feel hopeful or purposeful. Research clearly shows depression lowers one's sense of purpose. Seeking professional help, like CBT, is crucial and effective.
Low self-esteem or just not knowing yourself well can also be barriers.
Yes, if you don't know your values, it's hard to live by them. Overcoming this involves self-compassion, being kind to yourself on the journey, and building supportive routines alongside therapy if needed.
And what about those big life upheavals, existential crises?
Job loss, divorce, illness, aging, these can shake your foundations and force you to question everything. But they're also often potent catalysts for growth.
The post-crisis surge in meaning that research shows.
Exactly. The key is how you navigate them. Reflect on your purpose, seek support from community or mentors, and take small steps towards new goals or ways of being. It's about finding new meaning amidst the change.
Let's make this even more concrete with those case studies we looked at. Real people finding meaning. Maria, the teacher in Brazil.
Right. Finds meaning in nurturing her students, seeing them succeed despite challenges. The relationships and impact fuel her, even with low pay.
And Ahmed, the retiree in Egypt who started volunteering.
Found purpose after loss by connecting with his community, distributing food. That sense of contribution, seeing the gratitude that became his meaning, ties into the research on volunteering.
Wheela, the indigenous artist in Canada.
Her meaning comes from authentic creative expression, connecting to her heritage through her painting, even with financial instability, living her values.
Dr. Chen, the scientist in China.
Finds meaning in the pursuit of knowledge, the potential to save lives through her research. Sees setbacks as part of the growth process, purpose found in persistence towards a large goal.
And Aisha, the community organizer in Kenya.
Meaning through advocacy, empowering other women, creating tangible social change, despite resistance. Her impact is her driving force.
These stories really highlight the diversity of paths, but also those common threads: connection, contribution, authenticity, growth, dealing with challenges, and they reflect those cultural nuances too.
Absolutely. You see the emphasis on individual achievement, perhaps more in some Western contexts, but also the shift towards balance.
And the strong collectivist focus in Eastern examples like ikigai or family roles in India.
Then the deep interconnectedness in indigenous views like Hoz,
And the power of community in African philosophies like Ubuntu.
and the importance of family and faith, often seen in Latin American cultures. It's a rich tapestry.
So, wrapping this all up after this pretty extensive deep dive, the big takeaway seems to be that a meaningful life isn't some static thing you find, like buried treasure.
Not at all. It's a journey. Dynamic, personal, constantly evolving. It's built day by day through those core elements we keep coming back to. Connection, purpose, authenticity, growth, resilience.
And it's found just as much in the small moments, really listening to someone, appreciating nature, helping out, as in the big achievements.
Exactly. It's about the intention you bring to your life moment by moment.
So the invitation to you, the listener, is to reflect on your own values, nurture your connections, embrace your challenges as opportunities for growth, and strive to live authentically.
And maybe carry this question forward. As you navigate your own unique life, how can consciously cultivating intention and purpose in both the big picture and the small moments continually shape and deepen your own definition of a truly flourishing existence?
A wonderful question to end on. Thank you for joining us for this exploration into what it means to live a meaningful life. We genuinely hope it's given you some food for thought, maybe some practical ideas for your own journey. If you found this discussion insightful, please do like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Your support helps us continue these deep dives. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.